candidates speak about their views and their plans, if elected. Now, Georgia Verdier will greet you on behalf of the Elmira Corning NAACP.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Georgia Verdier, president of the Elmira Corning branch of the NAACP. And we're happy to co-sponsor this political forum tonight with the Steuben and Chemung Counties League of Women Voters. We believe knowledge is power. And someone has stated that power provides information. Information leads to education. Education breeds wisdom. And wisdom is liberation. People are not liberated because of the lack of knowledge. We further believe that voters should be effectively informed regarding the platforms of individuals seeking to represent them. So it is our pleasure to assist in providing this opportunity for candidates to share relevant information to the community they hope to serve. Thank you.
I'm going to give you a list of candidates, and then we will take each race one at a time. And the first candidate we will talk about tonight is Bill Bolen, our incumbent mayor, seeking a third two-year term. And prior to being elected mayor in 2017, Mayor Bolen served as the city councilman from the 4th Ward beginning in 2012. He was also appointed deputy mayor for 4 one-year terms by former Mayor Negri. And running Elizabeth Whitehouse is seeking election for a 2-year term as mayor of Corning, New York. She's running on the independent party ticket, and she hopes to make Corning a close-knit community of involved citizens living happily in a beautiful green city. From the 1st Ward, Diane Tallahani is seeking re-election to the City Council, 4-year term. She is a Democrat. Paul Thomas, who is not able to be here this evening, but his written statement will be posted on the League website. Paul is seeking election to the City Council from the 1st Ward. He is seeking a 4-year term as a Republican and also from the People's First Party. Chris Karam is seeking re-election to the City Council from the 3rd Ward, and he also submitted a written statement which will be available on our website. A 4-year term, running as a Republican and the People's First Party. Pray that I pronounce his name right. Brent Kerslovski is seeking election to the City Council from the 3rd Ward, and he's seeking 4-year term as a Democrat. And Hilda Lando is running unopposed for legislator in District Number 2, and she just is seeking re-election for a 4-year term as a Democrat. And I'd also like to mention that our party leaders are Margie Lawler is our Democrat leader, and Allison Hunt is the leader for the Republican Party. And I thank our League volunteers tonight monitoring the Zoom room, Diane Rowe and Rachel Treichler, and our library liaison and tech person, Marshall Hyde. So each candidate will make their own personal statement in response to 5 questions which were given to them in advance. And these 5 questions are: what are your qualifications for the office you seek? What do you think is the most critical issue facing Corning? How will you address it? Does Corning have a renewable energy plan? Should we? Why or why not? I guess there's more than 5 questions in this. Sorry. What do you consider your greatest contribution to the Corning community? Does Corning have an emergency response plan? If not, should we? What would yours look like? If there is one in place, please describe. And so we begin with Diane Tallahani, and Brent, if you want to be on deck, we'll and just take your places and Make your statements. Oh, no. Oh. Otherwise, I'll put my mask back on. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
good evening. I'm Diane Tallahani, and I'm seeking re-election for the position that I currently hold as the First Ward City Councilman, because frankly, I love my job. I like helping people in my ward, and I know that people are very comfortable calling me with whatever issues they might have. I'm on several committees, but the one I'm most passionate about is the Parks Committee. Since the plan we have in place right now is a 10 to 15-year plan, we're just in the infancy stages. I want to continue being involved to help solve any issues we may face, both now and in the future. I believe I'm the best candidate because for nearly 4 years, I've devoted my time and efforts to being a conscientious member of the City Council. I take pride in caring for my constituents and being available to them no matter what issues they might have. Both my experience in the job and genuine passion for my constituents are my most valued qualifications. I care deeply about the quality of life in our neighborhoods. I love the Crystal City, and I'm dedicated to making sure she shines. I honestly believe that parks, first and foremost, are the most critical issue. Parks are a place where people can come safely with their families to take a walk, have a family reunion, take their kids swimming, or just enjoy the outdoors. I'm passionate about the parks for many reasons, one of which is that parks provide a connection to nature, which studies have shown decreases stress and improves overall health. A lot needs to be done, not only to bring our parks up to decent standard, but also to meet ADA compliance. Of course, we need to invest in our roads and water systems and streetlights and police and firefighting forces. But the reason I selected the parks as the most critical issue is because families are truly the fabric of our community. We need to provide places for families to spend quality time together. Finally, when we have strong, healthy families, we have an engaged community willing to invest in something that truly improves their lives. At the present time, we don't have a renewable energy plan per se in place. That said, in order to cut down on our expenses with excessive energy costs, City Hall recently had an energy audit study done. They found that they could save quite a lot of money with simple upgrades, such as replacing light bulbs with more energy efficient light fixtures. Soon, we will work with NAACP to replace all of the city's streetlights with new LED lights, which are much more energy efficient and last much longer. LED lights are as much as 90% more efficient than incandescent light bulbs, averaging a 10-year lifespan also. That will decrease the number of streetlight outages and increase the amount of money the city will save. It is my understanding that a few years ago, the city also put a new HVAC unit on the roof of City Hall. That new and updated model is much more energy efficient than the one that we previously had. Look, I care about the environment probably more than most people because I recycle and compost nearly everything. I rarely need to go to the dump with a bag of garbage. Again, while we don't have a specific plan in place at this time, that doesn't mean that we aren't implementing small changes within the city that will have a huge impact. My greatest contribution to the community, I believe, is caring about the people in general, my constituents in particular, and the city overall. I care about the people because they are what make this city what it is, which is a city I'm proud to live in. I care about my constituents because they are who I represent. And I care about the city as a whole because I want not only myself, but I want everyone who lives in the city to be as proud of the city as I am. Yes, the city does have an emergency response plan administered by officials within the city. Information regarding the plan is available both at City Hall and on the city website. So that's your best resource if you have any questions about an emergency response plan. My closing statement is based on everything I've said this evening so far. I hope all of you can see that I am the most experienced and best candidate for the job. I can tell you that because of that, I was endorsed by the Crystal City PBA and the SEIU Local 1199. The fact that these esteemed institutions have put their trust in me gives me great confidence. And the constituents within my ward, they all know that they can call on me anytime with whatever issues they might have. They know that I will help them in any way that I can. I will find the answers to their issues, and I'm a solutions oriented. And my constituents, they really appreciate that fact about me. In my nearly 4 years in office, I voted for the much needed street repairs, having gotten 11 streets just in my ward alone, either repaired or soon to be repaired this year, while keeping tax increases as low as possible also. The needs of the city and my constituents are absolutely my first priority, and I'm never too busy to help. It's very simple. Like I said, my passion and caring are my greatest contributions, and I will never stop caring about the city and my ward in particular. Thank you.
Thank you. And I remind you that Paul Thomas is running for this same position, and his written statement will be available on our website following this event. From the third ward, we have Chris Karam, who's seeking re-election, and his written statement also will be on the website. And we will hear from Brent, and who's also running for third ward.
That's correct. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. This is a wonderful event where it gives the opportunity to hear the candidates and to see a vision and to see what things are all about. So thank you once again for having us. My name is Brent Kerslovski, and I'm a fourth generation Corning City resident. My great-grandfather came to the city of Corning from Poland in 1908, seeking a better life and seeking a better opportunity. I'm a barber at the Market Street Barbershop in Corning, and I'm also a union representative for the Teamsters Local 118, representing the hardworking men and women of United Parcel Service at the Painted Post Center. Each and every day, I commit my time to working for our members. And for this ward, I am here to work for you. Your worries are my worries. Your concerns are my concerns. The biggest issues that I see that we need to work on are infrastructure. We need to continue to improve our roads. We need to continue to improve our sidewalks, to improve traffic safety. We've been having a lot of issues in the third ward with 171 Cedar Arts. And there's a lot of people and a lot of parents that are nervous for their children, and they're afraid that they might get hit. So we need to put up signs. We need to keep people aware of those certain situations, especially with our traffic safety. We look at our abandoned homes in the ward or any homes that need repaired. So it's important that we continue with the partnership with the Steuben County Land Bank to improve these properties, to make sure that your ward and our ward is not having any issues with abandoned properties. Another big thing is our renewable energy sources or services. We have a program in place that's coming into Corning from NAACP, a rebate program to focus on LED lights, to convert the lights to LED lights. So that way, not only that we're saving energy, we're saving costs for the city, especially for our taxpayers, which is very important to you. The greatest contribution that I have given to this community is being a part to deliver the COVID-19 vaccines to the city of Corning and to the other areas with the United Parcel Service and the Teamsters Union. Keeping our supply chain going. Right now, we're witnessing a lot of issues with our supply chain. And I'm grateful to have that opportunity to work with the United Parcel Service, Teamsters Union, to deliver the vaccines and to keep our goods going to our community. We need to continue our partnership with Steuben County with the Board of Health. Darlene Smith has done a wonderful job for Steuben County. And what we have been going through with this pandemic, we need to have a plan in place. So we need to continue that partnership with Steuben County, with our Board of Health. And we also have to look at with issues with climate change. We had a lot of flooding this year, a lot of rain. Those have been issues. That could happen once again. I know after 1972, the flood, there's been a lot of things that have been put into place that are trying to keep that from happening again. But we need to keep in mind that we need to look out for our community because climate change is a big threat to us. Based on everything and our overall health and our programs, we also need to focus on our trains, the trains that come through geared towards anything in Steuben County. And once again, I just want to say that each and every day that I've been out talking to the constituents, talking to the residents of the third ward, I'm here for you and to remember, vote for the candidate that is here to represent you. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to November 2nd.
Thank you both very much. And again, I remind you that the written statements from Paul Thomas and Chris Karam will be available on the website. And now I would, yes, if I find the right page here, get on the right page, I would call up Bill and Elizabeth. Our mayoral candidates have to say things. I didn't really choose which word you would go first, so I you want to flip a coin?
You said Bill was gonna.
Oh, that's right. I did, didn't I?
You did.
Okay, Bill, you have the floor
All
and we will hear your statement and then we will hear from Elizabeth.
Great, thank you very much. First, thank you to the League of Women Voters and Elmira Corning chapter of the NAACP for putting this event together and for the invitation to be here tonight. To complete my introduction, I'm married to Sue Smith Bolen. I have dog Willie and a cat Toby. Son Jack Michael is living and working in London. I'm an Army veteran, having served 5 years, and a former business owner, having spent most of my business career in New York City. Corning is my hometown, and to which I returned in 2009 to live permanently. In 2011, when I made the decision to seek public office, I did so with the thought to apply my business and other life experiences to the issues that face our community. I felt I had something to offer and combine that with a desire to contribute to the city's prosperity. As for my qualifications to hold the office of mayor, I've served 4 years as mayor, and I've learned how to get things done. I served 4 years before that as deputy mayor. I learned alongside the best mayor that I know, Mayor Negri. I was the chairman of the housing committee, and in that time was created the Corning Housing Partnership that is improving housing throughout the city. And I currently serve on that executive committee of the Corning Housing Partnership. I also served as the chairman of the Public Art Committee for many years. Currently, as mayor, I serve as a voting member on all 8 council committees and boards. So I have a full breadth of knowledge about the issues that arise and what work is being done on each of those. I currently serve as the chairman of the Code Committee, which recently completed a rezoning in the city. Now, that's not glamorous work by any stretch of the imagination. It's really the nuts and bolts of shaping the city's development. I also served on the Parks Committee, which recently completed a strategy to improve our parks over the next 10 years. I serve on the Public Art Committee, and we are just beginning a process to develop a strategy to increase the amount and types of public art in our city. And as mayor, I'm the president of the Board of Health. I serve on the city's bargaining team for negotiations with our 3 city employee unions, excuse me. This year, we completed long-term contracts with each one of those unions, and I can proud to say that not a crossword was said. I served on the Police Reform and Reinvention Collaborative, authorized and actually mandated by then Governor Cuomo, that comprehensively reviewed our police policies and procedures to produce a reform plan with 31 items of improvement. I'm happy to say that one of those items that were undecided at that point regarding body cams, a report from our city manager, who has been doing an analysis, is that he is very optimistic that he will make a favorable recommendation to do that. He will present his review within the next few weeks to be on the city council agenda for the November meeting for its consideration. Why am I running? There is much more work to be done, and I continue to have a passion for the work. I can use my experience to get things done, and in the end, I think I have much more to contribute, and I want to continue to serve. Thank you.
And Elizabeth.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Well, I too am very thankful to the League of Women Voters and to the NAACP for sponsoring this event. I would like to just mention that I was very impressed to have representatives from the League present when I became a citizen in January of 2015. They immediately took registration forms, and almost before I got home from Buffalo, there was my voter registration complete. So that was very impressive and a very important activity. I'm very thankful that we have this event, because I think it's vitally important that candidates are heard and have the opportunity to present their views. I've got all these notes here, but everything that's been said beforehand, I'm going to have to revise them quite a lot, because first of all, I forgot what my qualifications for mayor are. I consider the position of mayor and the city council very similar to the board of a not-for-profit organization. And I've been involved in quite a few of those. So, you know, the way things operate and the committee structure and all that sort of thing is not unfamiliar. I don't have any experience in actual city management, but one has to start somewhere. I've also been very involved with the city in a lot of ways. I've had businesses on Market Street. I've volunteered for the library and for 171, and I was a docent at both museums, Corning Museum of Glass and the Rockwell Museum. So I know the city quite well, and I'll come back to that in a moment. There isn't an awful lot of time this evening, but if anybody would like to contact me, anybody watching that is, and I hope there are a few, I can be contacted through my website, which is elizabethwhitehouse.com, and through that you can use the contact form. You can email me, or you can even phone me. I think my phone number is on there as well. So I'm running for mayor again because we need leadership that is not content with business as usual. We need leadership that invites and welcomes ideas from the public. We need leadership that is inclusive and open, that addresses the needs of everyone, that embraces community, and that will make Corning a leader and proud model for 21st century urban development. I have walked every street in the city at least once, and I've spoken to more than 500 people this year. I know the city well, but the conversations we had further enlightened me and confirmed many of my own observations about city government. It has been a very rewarding experience to meet so many concerned and devoted citizens. Many lamented the difficulty of communicating with the city and the disappearance of many neighborhood communities. Some commented on the need for beautification, for cosmetic things, and of course, the roads and the sidewalks and things like that. They also commented on the need for government accountability. What I told them is that my platform is as simple as ABC: accountability, beautification, and community. These ideas resonated with the great majority of Corning residents, the ones that I have spoken to. The ideas are interrelated, and if we act on them comprehensively, we will help unite neighborhoods under a common vision and will create pride through participation as citizens become more involved, and by doing so enrich the city. The first question that we were asked is, what do I think is the most critical issue? I would say lack of vision. The city's master plan is almost 20 years old, and it's an antiquated plan that simply does not meet Corning's needs today. We need a new one. We need one with a vision of what we want Corning to look like 5, 10, 15 years from now. My vision is of a vibrant, climate-friendly, prosperous community, one that encourages open and respectful communication between city and citizens, a community which contributes to our well-being and enhances the character of our city and the environment in which we live. This vision will lead us away from the status quo, which for many reasons is no longer viable. Corning, with its unique resources, should be a leader and model in community development. We should seek to improve services without raising taxes. We should find more ways to incorporate citizens' help and ideas into city projects. The Parks Plan is a very good example of involving the public in community development. Now I think is the time to involve the community in its implementation, which I think would help us get it done in less than 15 years. There are so many improvements that we could make with a proactive government and meaningful leadership. I have been distressed to see street trees disappearing. It would seem that the city allows utility companies to cut down city trees without any oversight and without any policy to replace them. The result is an emptiness and a loss of warmth and character of the streets. The lack of trees may decrease the value of the properties. The loss of trees certainly decreases the level of environmental services that nature provides for us. Now I have to wonder what happens to all that wood. Just, who gets it? The utility companies? Does it get ground up and sent to the landfill? I don't know. Another question we were asked is, does Corning have an emergency response plan? Well, I looked on the city's website and I couldn't find one, so my comments don't really apply. But what I did say was that I think as disasters don't respect municipal boundaries, I think we should partner with the county as much as possible, offer them resources, formulate guidelines and so on, but let the larger area take the lead on this. The next question was, does Corning have a renewable energy plan? Not that I know of. Should we have one? Well, of course we should. And a renewable energy plan is about a lot more than solar panels. It's also about a lot more than changing light bulbs. It should cover all aspects of environmental management, including waste management and the protection and administration of our water resources. The city does have a three-person sustainability committee, of which I believe Diane is a member, which is charged with, and Marshall, with formulating a plan that I quote, outlines a long-term strategy to promote sustainability practices which are beneficial to the environment, financially sustainable, and improve our community's quality of life. As far as I know, they have not yet produced a plan, and I don't think they have the knowledge to do so alone. This is an area I've been involved with for about a dozen years, and I'm in contact with a number of people and organizations in the area whose expertise would be invaluable in adapting existing sustainability plans for the specific needs of Corning. We do not need to start from scratch, but we do need a compost facility. A compost facility is absolutely essential if one's going to get a handle on managing waste and water. And these are also areas of which I have considerable knowledge. Another question was, what is my greatest contribution to the city? And the simple answer to that is the one that's yet to come. I have contributed to the city in many ways over the 37 years I've lived here, but I can and will do more. As mayor, I will lead Corning into a new prosperous era. It's getting late. That will showcase the city as a model of good planning, of efficient and effective government, and of openness and inclusiveness. I will seek the advice of experts, preferably local ones, when needed. I will encourage community involvement in city projects. To sum up, I think Corning is at a crossroads. We can continue with business as usual, or we can take the bull by the horns and forge a new, sustainable, prosperous future for our community by working together. Together, we can create pride through participation. Thank you. Oh, just one other thing. I don't belong to the independent party. I am an independent with no party affiliation.
Oh, you're like independent with a little I, not the.
That's right.
Got it.
I'm listed on the voters roll as BLK for blank.
Thank you very much. Now, we just had the one question that came in from the Zoom room.
I think I need to, I thought we were going to go back and forth on these questions.
No, that wasn't the plan, because you're
Well,
just
I-
making.
Well, I have the other questions that I wanted to respond to. My understanding was we would be asked a question, Elizabeth would be given an opportunity. and then-
No, it was, you were supposed to say it all, but you have more to do.
I do.
Let's see, how do we want to do this? You will have a closing statement. There will
I
be an-
have answers to each of the questions that were posed to us and a closing statement, yes.
Okay, how much, do you remember how much time he used?
He used less than, I think it was maybe, because I timed it for 10 minutes. So
Right.
he used 7 or 8 minutes.
You have a suggestion or no?
So in answering the question, just because it was just directed to.
No, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Okay. I got it.
See, each candidate was supposed to make their own personal statement in response to the 5 questions which were given to them in advance. And And you're saying you did not do that. You still have those 5 questions that you want to address.
That's correct.
Well, Connie, I have a suggestion. We're not pressed for time.
We're not.
And that was the format that we have
In the
had
past.
previously. So fair enough, you prepared as you expected. And so I'm all in favor of giving the mayor an opportunity to.
Great. Thank you.
Floor is
Elizabeth. I
yours.
appreciate that very much. Question is, what do you think is the most critical issue? And I'm happy that Elizabeth alluded to many of the things that I will touch on as well. Our city's comprehensive plan, as Elizabeth mentioned, has not been updated in over 20 years. A well-prepared comprehensive plan is a roadmap for how the city will grow and prosper moving into the future. As the highest priority in the new year, I will form a comprehensive plan review committee to begin work on an updated plan. The committee will consist of city council members, including myself, broad spectrum of stakeholder organizations within the community, and citizens. They will have the exciting task to look with fresh eyes on the challenges and opportunities for Corning, both now and going into the next 10 to 15 years. And then to produce the plan, which ultimately the city council will consider for approval. That comprehensive plan will include addressing the broad subject of sustainability. One of the areas that we've had on the radar for a few years and just have not gotten to yet. This will be our opportunity to do so. So in this sustainability initiative, we will be addressing how we can meet our needs today without sacrificing the needs of those that follow us. One piece of that I will bring to the table, and Elizabeth, happily, you touched on this as well, is an initiative to reforest the city. Over the years, the city has cut down many more trees than we have replanted. As part of the comprehensive plan, I will push to plant those trees to reestablish the beautiful, protective, sustaining canopy that has existed as a signature throughout our neighborhoods over the years. Next question was, does Corning have a renewable energy plan? Should we? Why or why not? The answer is no, we do not currently. Should we? Yes, of course, we agree. In the part of the comprehensive plan where we will address sustainability, I see embedded in that is the creation and direction for renewable energy. So we are on a path to getting that done. What do you consider your greatest contribution to the Corning community? There are 2 things I'd like to offer. The first, from my private life as a Rotary Club member of 12 years, a club which I served as president in 2016. This year is Rotary's 100th anniversary as a club here in the city, founded by Frederick Carter, famous glass artist. Look, for a number of years, Rotary's been looking for a a centennial project. And after considering a number of things, founded on something that I will discuss with you. Our city manager identified in our newly adopted park strategy a call for a cherry blossom trail in Denison Park. Together, we identified a location in the park. He and I presented it to the Rotary, and they immediately decided to join in partnership with the city to make Rotary Cherry Blossom Trail their 100th anniversary project. Acting as a Rotarian, I served as a Rotary project manager. Rotary had the responsibility for the design of the trail. Our team hired and worked with a landscape architect to produce the design. The city managed the project from there, ordering the trees, digging the holes, paving the path. And on September 22nd, the trees were planted and the trail dedicated with some 150 people in attendance. Now we have a cherry blossom trail with 40 new trees, organized into 8 groves and 30 additional flowering bushes selected to provide blossoming throughout the spring, summer, and fall. This will be something the community will witness in its steady climb and increasing beauty well into the future. The trailhead is located on Market Street Extension, across from the street from the former Spencer's Restaurant. On the city's government side, I would say my body of work with housing is my greatest contribution to this to the Corning community. As the chairman of the Housing Committee, I led the city's housing study that produced a strategy for improving housing of all types and levels throughout the city. That strategy called for and resulted in the creation of a public-private partnership to create a renaissance in housing over 15 years. That partnership, formerly titled the Corning Housing Partnership, consists of the City of Corning, Three Rivers Development Corporation, and Arbor Housing and Development. Together, we have made significant improvements in each of the impact zones we have selected. There's much more to be done, but we have a model that works, and we have a team to implement those models. The City Council recently approved a 4-year renewal of our participation in that partnership, and this long-term commitment will mean continued progress in improving the housing stock to serve our diverse population. Does Corning have an emergency response plan? Yes, we do. The plan addresses risk reduction, responses, and recovery. Risk reduction identifies potential hazards and steps to mitigate them, for instance, through zoning or other methods of compliance. The response aspect addresses how we organize ourselves to react to and address emergencies. The recovery aspect involves practices of damage assessment and delineates those responsibilities. I think it's important to note that the emergency response plan is really directed to the staff, detailing how they engage in an emergency and the roles and responsibilities they have. It is not a document directed to the public, as among other things, it contains actions and practices that need to be shielded from someone who might look to cause harm in the midst of an emergency. For the public, the city will advise what to do in any given emergency through its communications on its website, through the emergency broadcast system, and other media. The city does have a brochure providing information on how citizens can join with the city to prepare for emergencies. If you would like one of those, please call the city manager's office or my office, and I'll make sure you get them. And in closing, and I thank you for your patience, I love the job and I love the opportunity to serve. It's an honor to work on behalf and represent this great city. Sure, I get the calls when there are problems. In that case, my modus operandi is to dig into it, sort it out, and make it right to whatever degree it's possible. But I also get calls or get stopped in Wegmans from folks who say, good job, or I like the way things are going in the city. When that happens, it feels very much rewarding. The mayor's job is supposed to be a part-time. I've approached it with a full-time commitment. I have a big workload, as I've outlined, but I'm happy to do whatever I can to contribute to good things happening for us in Corning. I offer my experience and commitment to serve 2 more years as mayor. I ask for and would greatly appreciate your support. Thank you for participating tonight, and thank you once again to the League and to the NAACP for sponsoring this. Thank you.
So now, there was just the one question that came from the Zoom. That was it?
Yes, just one question.
Okay. That's just for you, Mayor Bolen.
Okay.
This person says, I would like to know how contracts with private companies are made. Is there a bidding process? How is the choice of company made and who makes it? I ask these questions because the mayor, who is a Rotarian and on the Cherry Blossom Trail Committee, apparently awarded the contract to Hunt Engineers without the knowledge of other committee members and without any input or oversight by other members of the city government. If this is a joint project of the city and the Rotary Club, why didn't other members of the city government also have input into this decision?
Great, thank you. I think the first thing to clarify is that we were in a partnership with Rotary and the City of Corning to accomplish the trail. Each had their own responsibilities. The Rotary Club had the responsibility for designing the trail and working with the landscape architect to do that. In regards to how our contracts are awarded with private companies, that's very well defined by state law. In this case, there was no contract between Hunt Engineering in the city. It was not a public, that was not the role of the city. The role of the city was to manage the project after the design had been completed. So Rotary hired Hunt Engineering, and that was a matter that was discussed and approved by the Rotary Board. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. So now all that is left is are there any closing words that people would like to share? And I will let Elizabeth, do you have anything in closing that you want to say to the voting public?
Well, I thought I'd said it all, but no. The city is in many ways a great place, but I do notice a very strong separation between city management, city government, and the citizens. One of the things, and that includes, I'm afraid to say, the council. One of the questions that I often asked when walking around was, you know, how do you get on with your council person? And many people said, I've no idea who it is. Never seen. They didn't know if it was a him or a her. So this is one of the things that I want to stress, that there should be much more communication. I don't know exactly how it can happen, but I have been mulling over some ideas of how individual council people can communicate, not with just one or two people in their wards, but with everybody. And what, for example, would happen if there was an emergency? How would they let the people of their ward know? I don't have an answer to it yet, but it's something that really needs to be considered. With this communication, you find out a lot more about what people are thinking. They're not going to necessarily volunteer what they're thinking until they're asked. They're not necessarily going to volunteer to help the city with projects until they're asked. I think we could do all of that quite easily.
Thank you. Bill, any?
Again, I'm happy this evening that many of the things that Elizabeth touched on are also of concern to me. And I think we have a great community. I had a college roommate who I hadn't seen in 50 years visit from Alabama the other week. We had dinner at a local restaurant, and he was just beyond words describing the beauty and character of our little city. After dinner, we walked out onto the walking bridge and took in a remarkable sunset, and just reminded me and gave me just added appreciation for what a beautiful city that we have. And I think that to continue on some of the initiatives that we discussed tonight, I hope that we have a green, progressive, and well-run city. So thank you once again.
Thank you both. And Brent or Diane, do either one of you want to say anything more?
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
You are most welcome.
Yes, thank you.
And then Georgia, would you like to say some closing words on behalf of the NAACP?
Can I just do it from back here?
I don't know, talk to the
I
cameraman.
don't know if the sound will pick you up, and
Okay.
You
Was
may
Hilda-
have my
was
space.
Hilda
No.
going to have the opportunity to
Oh,
speak?
well, she's not here.
She is on the
Oh,
Zoom.
she's in the Zoom room?
So if we can ask Hilda to
Oh, wait a minute,
unmute,
can you-
then she
yeah,
can
just-
speak. Georgia, if you want to grab a seat there,
All right, Hilda, you got the floor for 2 minutes.
let me see if I can't unmute her.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Awesome. So thank you for including me before it ended. And hello to everyone. I'm sorry I'm not there in person, but I wanted to thank, again, like everyone, the League of Women Voters and the NAACP for sponsoring the event. It is an annual event, and I'm glad we were able to do it this year. But like so many, I wish we could be all in person, but right now Zoom is probably just as good for us. I wanted to quickly just tell you, I could list all of the boards and committees that I serve on through the county or the city. And, but I don't want to take that time and bore you with all of those details. And I get tired just looking at the list anyway. I want to though, let the residents of Corning and Steuben County know that I'm honored. I am very honored to serve as your representative on the county legislature, just as I was when I served at the city council level. And I look forward to continue to work hard for you and for everyone in the community to make us a better city, just as everyone else has already said here. So thank you so much. And again, best wishes to all of the candidates.
Thank you, Hilda.
Just have a pretty quick closing remark. And just want to say on behalf of the local branch of the NAACP, I'd like to thank all the people involved in putting all of this together, making tonight's forum a reality. And hopefully all the people listening in, as well as us, we're better informed in terms of what the candidates bring to the table. So now we have no excuse saying we don't know who's representing us. So I'd like to encourage everybody who's been informed tonight and you're active in politics to remember in November to take your souls to the polls.
Amen. I have been living in this area for 10 years now, and I just celebrated my 3rd year anniversary of living in downtown Corning in the 3rd ward. So I do think that Corning is a very unique and wonderful place, and I am so glad to hear everyone and to know there are so many people who truly care about the future of this city. So like Georgia, get out there, get registered to vote, and be ready to vote on November 2nd. And this concludes our program for this evening, and thanks to everyone.